Well, welcome into a very exciting episode of The Scene. I am your host, Bubba Startz, and with me today is AJ Stone. What's up, AJ?
What's going on? How you doing?
I'm good, buddy. I'm good. Why don't you go ahead and tell everybody not just who you are, but what you do, and we'll get started right there.
Sounds good. So my name is AJ Stone. I play in a band by the same name here in St. Paul, Minnesota. Relatively new band. I just started doing my music last year. I've been involved with the local scene 4 years, but just started singing, playing guitar, being the front man of my own band, and we've just been kicking ass and taking names last year, and we're hoping to come out swinging 2025.
You know it, brother. That's how
Mm-hmm.
it's done, man. Love it. So, relatively new to playing music, period, or just being in a band?
Just being fronted in a band. So I was in a band a few years ago called Sicocera. We did a big national tour. It was an amazing experience. I played bass for them. I've been playing guitar since I've been 13, 14 years old. I play a little bit of drums on the side, but yeah, as far as singing, which is pretty new, the seriousness of singing, not just the shower routine. That's been new for the last year, and it's been both nerve wracking and very exciting.
So, you did the national tour. What happened with that band? Just kind of fizzle out, or?
Yeah, so Sick of Sarah, they originally were an all female band, and then at some point, me and my friend Jack Swagger, we joined that band, and yeah, it was just the end of it for a lot of people for different reasons. Um, a few of them have done music after that, but a lot of them kind of just retired. So it gave me a good spark of what it's like to be on tour like that. So again, it was one of the most amazing experiences I've ever had, and hoping to reach similar heights in my band.
It was a good motivation to get in front of a band and say, "Well, I don't want to rely on someone else to
Right.
take me on this journey. I want to go and captain this journey myself."
Absolutely. Well, and for a while, I was happy to rely on someone else to captain the ship, if you will, but people weren't. So it came down to a situation of um, not doing it or doing it for myself, and I really wanted to do it. So that's why I'm here.
Yeah, see, and that's so much different from like my experience, right? Like I've always been the front man. It's always been me driving, and I've been one other time met a really great guitar player and he sang and did his own thing. And I was like, dude, I'll play bass behind you and listen to you play like Jimi
Sure,
Hendrix. You know what I
sure,
mean? And I was like totally content doing that, but then I wasn't in control of my own destiny anymore. Even though I was booking the band and I was doing still a lot of the same work, right? Like I
hmm
wasn't I wasn't in control because he woke up one day when we're in frickin' Baton Rouge, fucking Louisiana, and he's like, "You're fired. I'm playing the show tonight by myself with my own band." And I'm like, you know,
right. That's
and
no
I was like,
good.
well, I'll never do that again, right? And honestly,
Hmm.
that led me down a path of not wanting to do music at all, right? I had invested so much of myself into someone else's, thing just to be kicked to the curb when it's my van, my truck that you're traveling in, that you're going to drive home in, even though I'm
Sure.
not with you anymore. I was like, that's insane. I'm never doing that again. And so yeah, I'm glad that you're stepping out and you're going out on your own. You're also doing a lot of stuff for the local music scene up there in St. Paul as well. You want to talk about North Star Original Review?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I've been helping out with like you said, this local. Uh, we're kind of a team of many hats, if you will. We're looking to help grow local artists, develop local artists. It's helping with our own path as well. North Star Original Review. I do a lot of the booking for the shows. I do a lot of the social media, specifically on Facebook. Um, I do a lot of, if you want to call me an ambassador for the team,
For lack of
reaching
a
out
better
to,
term.
yeah, I reach out to. I got our name mentioned in our local radio station KFAI. I got our connected with you, as a matter of fact. That was definitely a blessing. It's been awesome so far, and we're all just getting started. Another local magazine, Tumbling Rock. We got some advertisement in there. So yeah, I do a lot of trying to push the North Star thing forward, and it's been an amazing experience because it has helped me network probably 10 times faster than I would if I was just playing shows or even just going to shows.
Well, it's because you have something of value to offer your community now, right?
Yes.
I was heavily invested in my own scene across the whole state of South Dakota. I was
Hmm.
raised on the west side of South Dakota. 5 years ago, my wife and I bought a house in her hometown, which brought me out to the middle of farm country on the other side of the state. I didn't really
Sure.
know anybody. When I landed out here, it was like, man, it's really disconnected. And you would have that because you have like Sioux Falls as the major center, but it's
Sure.
really like six different towns, right? Like there's
Right.
T and Brandon and Harris and all these little towns that used to be outside of the city that it's kind of spread into. So the scene is
Hmm.
still very disconnected because even if you're from Sioux Falls, you don't necessarily know everybody from the next town over, right?
Right.
And if you're from somewhere an hour and a half out of Sioux Falls like I am, it's really hard to meet anybody. Blessing of the Facebook, right? And the social networks that we have. I've been very lucky to just kind of fall into this, and now I have something of value to offer to my community. And it really
Sure.
just exploded my network, both here and then also up there, right?
Yeah.
We don't have a local magazine to get in. We don't have local radio that really wants to support any kind of local music, right? Very sporadic. Very fortunate to have, our friend Bailey Peterson at Dakota News Now, which is one of our local news stations. She's had
Hmm.
quite a few musicians on because of her passion for, music and local acts. But beyond that, there's just not a lot of room for us, right? And then everybody wants to sit back and go, oh, well, there's no scene. Well, there's no scene. Well, there's nobody supporting it. Other than
Right.
the artists themselves, none of these other companies and things are trying to support that. Your big money donors and things are supporting things like the Levitt at the Falls, which is wonderful, right? They're providing a space for local openers and things like that, but they're not truly elevating people until now. I think they're doing a lot more, and I don't want to speak poorly about them at all. They're a great organization, some great
Hmm.
people there, but they just started, hosting an open mic on the stage on Thursday nights, right? So giving people an opportunity just to go and step on that stage. And then it
Right.
starts to expand your mind to what's really possible, right? Now if you can play up there with nobody there, right, or a few hundred people, then you can definitely play there when there's a few thousand people. It's no different. It's the
Sure.
same stage, the same equipment,
Sure.
it's your same songs. So we really have a system. We just don't have anybody talking about it, right? There was
Hmm.
nobody giving it the press that it deserved. And that's kind of how the scene projects began. And fortunately for me, I am I love to network. I love to find other communities. That's how I found you guys, right? Being in different Facebook groups, especially. You guys got quite a few up there that I'm always posting in, but also something like the Midwest Country Music Organization, which was kind of founded in the Minneapolis area, that just blew the doors off of it, right? We have over 300 member artists that are all out here, doing our thing. And we all have a network of our own to bring
Hmm.
to the collective, right? So, yeah, stumbling onto you guys who are kind of outside of that group, but in the same area, man, you talk about blessing. I've been so blessed by you and by Corey and by all of my Midwest CMO family and all these people that
Sure.
are family, right?
Yeah, it's been incredible, and North Star is pretty young. We just started in, I think it was July of last year, so it's not like this is this 5 year project that we've been going in. I can't wait to see what the next couple years present.
Brother,
Just
I've only been around since April, right?
right,
So we're neither one of us are even a year old yet. And
right,
look at the network because everybody had their own already, that when we all came together, it just boom.
yep.
And exactly like you said, where are we all in a few years? In a few years, I'd like to be like our buddy Steve Dramalski on stage at US Bank Stadium.
Wouldn't that be something? Yeah, I'm. I'm a bit of a dreamer. So I always think about, what would it be like to open up for the biggest band that I know? And, like Corey, the director of North Star, he's really good at having smaller goals. So now, and maybe it won't happen this year, but I want to play 7th Street Entry that's a part of First Ave, not necessarily First Ave or the Green Room or some of our bigger local venues. But yeah, at some point, US Bank Stadium, that's definitely, one of those dreams, but working on the
There's
little goals
Right.
first.
Well, you have to, you can't skip steps in this, right? Like
Right.
I'm not ready. I've been doing this for 25 years. I'm not ready to go step on that stage yet because
Right.
I have to go and play the 7th Streets and I have to go and play some of these other venues and not necessarily that specific venue, but things like it. I've played a lot of
Hmm.
clubs, but I've never done theaters. I don't think you
Hmm.
can jump from like playing your local bar and grill to up to that level and to think that you're going to perform well, right?
Yeah. I'd probably
There's
be
you have to
stiff as a
build.
rock up there.
Yeah, man, you have to build that confidence in yourself. And granted, for me, like I mentioned, the Levitt at the Falls in Sioux Falls has just been so great because before that, I didn't even know if playing to an amphitheater of 4,000 people was even possible. And then
Sure.
getting to do that 3 years in a row, and this last year, they kind of put it on us to like, well, can you give us a 45-minute set of just originals? I would love to. Right.
Sure.
And we got to open for Armchair Boogie, who is another Midwest band. They got a newgrass band out of Wisconsin. And
Very cool.
coming off the stage, those guys who have had a 20-year career themselves, playing all kind of festivals and different things that were like, right on, brother. You held your own out there, man. Cool.
Hmm.
You didn't sound like a local band. You didn't look like a local band. That meant a lot to me. And then it just was like, okay, well, now what's the next step? And for me, it's not necessarily like I deserve the bigger stages now. It's no, how do you get on the road to play more of the smaller rooms that you're kind of used to, which led me to a place like Midway Saloon, which obviously you
Right.
guys do a lot of work there every other
Hmm.
Thursday, right? Where I walked in and went, oh, this looks like every other bar I've ever played in, you know?
Sure.
And then you build on that. And so that's kind of the 2025 plan, at least for myself, is how do we get this show out on the road? How am I doing, our songwriter showcase, which is very similar to what the review is, except I'm hosting on stage and a little bit different format, but very similar.
Sure.
And how do we combine the networks to, put more local people on to have a little bit bigger bands like Devin Worley Band, who's going to be coming out on the road with us? How do we grow that now? And how do we make our own kind of Vans Warped tour out of this whole thing, or Coachella or whatever comparison you want to make? How do we build it and do it ourselves? And with the collective experience, I think that's possible because not one
Yeah.
of us has all of the experience through the whole thing.
Right. And that's what I first noticed about working with the North Star original review. When they first came up with the idea and they were telling me about it, I was just absorbing it like any other idea that my friends have, which I love my friends. Sometimes they have great ideas. Sometimes they don't have the greatest ethic to get into that idea. It's just an idea. It's just on paper. And I'm myself to blame for that too. I'm sure we all are. But after it started happening and we had a team around us and the team started building and the team started wanting to be more involved, and not that it's a competition, but I'm a very competitive person. So when the people around me are doing better, I want to do better because I want to be, employee of the month kind of thing. So we all have been working as a team. And I think that's the big difference right there. I think if I came up with this idea, every single idea that the director of North Star came up with, if I came up with every single one of those ideas and tried to do it by myself, I think I would have failed. I think the fact that there's a community, a team, other people getting involved, other different takes at it, I think that's the big key to success. I think the scene that we are working with, the local scene, I think they're seeing more results rather than just playing a small venue and getting your $20, $30. I think they're seeing their names in the magazines and hearing their names on the radio and seeing the podcast and things like that. And they're thinking, hey, this could be us too if we keep being there. So, yeah, the more hands on deck, the more that this is going to succeed.
It's hard not to like not get over our skis, but to think about the lives that we're going to affect, and not just of the musicians, but the lives that they're going to affect with their careers, because we're able to kind of build this bigger platform. And it's not like Facebook, right? Where it was kind of
Mm-hmm.
one man's idea. And, it was something I typed today. Like, none of these ideas are ours anyway.
Sure.
This is you, God or source or whatever you want to call it. It came from somewhere else. It's
Mm-hmm.
not so unique to ourselves, and we take possession of it and we want to trap it and go, no, this is ours, right? This is our idea and you can't do anything with it. I think the world has changed so much, and especially in the world of musicians and creatives, because all the money has been hoovered out of it. We're
Right.
not getting, none of us are getting paid to play our music. I mean, maybe to play it, but we're not getting paid for the Spotify streams and all of those things. So who gives a shit if we're out here playing for nothing? And are we connecting with people? Are
Sure.
we able to connect? Can we connect with a community? That's what's so much more important now. And with, what we just went through in the last, 12 months or so, and especially the last 4 months as the election cycle wound down, and the entire world now has seen the power of a podcast. And the
Mm-hmm.
power of the podcast is truth. It is connection, one to one, right? I'm talking with you, but I'm also speaking directly to every single person who's listening to this.
Sure.
In their ears, this is me and you talking directly to them, not necessarily to each other. So it's just completely changed the way that information is transferred. And I'm so happy that I fell into this a year ago to kind of have my feet under me. It'd be
Sure.
totally different if we were here and like trying to start from now instead of having the 6 months behind us already, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, now we're poised to ride this wave, because I think what's going to happen now, AJ, is that the advertising from our local communities can start to wrap their heads around what a podcast is. It's what local radio used to be, right?
Sure.
Instead of sponsoring the local show on The Wolf or what, I don't know your stations up there, but that now you are that, well, that show's here. It's in a different package, but it's the same thing. And you're supporting these local artists by supporting this program. And then for all of us, especially here at the Scene Projects, like, I'm not doing this to get rich. I just want to stay on the road and keep doing what I've been doing.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely not the place to be if you want to get rich. I think my CD Baby account has like $4.50 in it from 2 years of doing music now, and probably $300 worth of campaigns and curators that I've spent on it,
Right.
not including the recording situation. So, um, yeah, it's definitely a don't quit your day job until you can, which hopefully we get there. But
Well,
yeah, it's definitely
and
not about the money.
and in some ways you have to be able to like leave the money. I mean, I should have never quit my day job, right? I mean, I was making 50K a year. I was doing pretty well, but I would have never had the time available to get where I've gotten if I didn't. If I was still
Sure.
giving somebody 40, 50 hours a week, and granted, my situation is different. I can still make money. I get paid pretty well locally to go play music, and I don't have
Hmm.
a mortgage that I'm completely underwater on, right? Our rent
Sure.
is like $600 a month or something, right? And I
Sure.
kind of looked at my wife, and for me, it was cutting out all the other BS. I don't drink. I don't spend any money on alcohol. I don't spend any money on food, right? We don't go out to eat and do all those things. So we were able to kind of trim all the kind of the pleasures out of our life, right? And to
Hmm.
then just get pleasure out of living this life. And that's been, I mean, the biggest blessing, because I'm not invested in that consumer lifestyle anymore. I'm
Sure.
not stuck in that work, sleep, die kind of, retire, live for a year, and then you're out of the system. And like, I'm not contributing to that really in any way. And we're able to support other people who are out there living that same kind of lifestyle.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I enjoy going out. I enjoy some of the, I don't want to say finer things in life because that makes it sound like I have a lot of money, and I certainly don't. But I do like maybe buying stuff for my drum set or my guitar setup or whatever. So I would not be in a position where I'd be able to quit my job that affords all that, and just do music. I would be in a tent in half a year. I wouldn't have the income that I would need yet, but that's the goal too. I mean, I'm only a year into it, my own music, so I shouldn't expect that I would have a situation like that. And if and when I do, it might be a situation where I think, hey, if I stop doing all this and quit my job, that means I can travel when I need to, when I want to. Yes, I'm not going to have the next iPhone or, the big steak dinner, but I don't necessarily need that. Um,
Well, and AJ, let me
miss
let you in
traveling.
on a little tip. As a musician, you shouldn't be paying for meals.
Well, sure, sure. But
So
I mean,
you
there's
could
there's
you
days where
could
you don't
still have
play,
the steak.
right? There's days where you don't play, right? So, um,
Only because you're doing something else, right? And I guess that's where all the possibilities for me opened up. And I know my situation is unique. Like I said, it's not everyone that can set out to do it. And I don't let the stress overcome me, right?
sure,
I mean, I have $20,000 worth of credit card debt that I've accumulated building this thing as well, right? But instead of sitting and going, oh my God, where am I going to find the money? And I got to go back to work to get it. I'm like, no, how do we keep building this thing up to where it's
hmm
100 times more valuable than whatever debt I could accumulate?
sure,
And that's why I'm doing this, right? And not relying on someone else to take that risk. I would never ask someone else to do what I've done. There's no, I
hmm
mean, it would be wholly irresponsible of them to do so, as it has been for me. But that's kind of like, I guess if you want to say that's kind of the God-given purpose, or that's whatever it is, my higher calling. Once I started following that, that's when things really opened up for me. And then I was available to, come up to Midway and record 8 artists for a review show, in a show that I couldn't really even afford to shoot, but just knowing in my head that, like, this is where it's going. This is
sure,
what takes us from the sidelines to the headlines, and to just keep pushing. And it's never about me. It's about this. It's about the projects, and
hmm
that everyone fits underneath of it, right? For me, I don't want to make you guys a part of my show. I want to gift you your own show, and to say, hey, we have a willing audience that's ready to listen. Just hit record,
sure,
send it to us, and we'll get it out there and produce that. And I think that's where I'm at, is finding the other people behind the scenes that can produce that. Let the AJs go out and book the reviews and to play the shows. Just hit record, man, and send it back to us. And then we can just keep moving this thing forward, and let the podcast then kind of get out there and do what they do. And what they do is they bring in the listeners. And as we do that, then it will be growing everyone's fan base. And that's
right,
that's what I'm really about, right? Making everybody famous. I got to go to Monday Night Football last month up there, and watching Justin Jefferson run on the field with 70,000 fans, and I was just like, I've always said that I don't want that. I lied. I do want that. And I want
yeah,
that not just for me, I want it for AJ. And I want it for every single artist that we work with. If that's what you want, I want to make that happen for you. And I'm going to keep working to make that happen. And so is AJ. And so is Corey. Everybody in the North Star Original Review crew is doing the same thing. Everybody here at the Scene Projects is doing the same thing. And if we maintain that mission for another, 2 to 5 years, there's no way we don't make it.
right. Well, it's funny that you mentioned that. And we were speaking about goals earlier. I went to, I think it was Cage the Elephant that I saw. I was seeing a couple of venues, but it was during one of those moments where the band was playing a kind of softer song. The lights were all down low, and people don't really carry lighters anymore. But everyone pulled out their cell phone, and it was all the thousand lights. And in that moment, I was like, that is one of my musical goals right there. I want to play a song. That's my Jefferson moment with 70,000 people screaming my name. Like, that's cool, but I want to play the song where everyone has their lighter or their lights out. And that'll be, one of those dream music moments. So, yeah, when I started doing music last year, I really thought I was going to be very casual with it, one show a month, whatever, not really put too much time and energy. And then things kind of just basically spiraled out of control in the best way possible. I started doing Nor, which kept me way busier. It's given me more shows. I've met a ton of new people, and I've even been going to a little bit more shows as far as like national acts and things like that, local acts too, of course. So yeah, I get more and more of these little taste of things that I realize that I really want to. And yeah, how do we make that a possibility? And I do think this is the way.
AJ, I don't want to keep you for too long today. Can you plug everything that you're working on and let everybody know where they can find you? And I'll let you get out of here.
Absolutely, I appreciate it. So obviously the North Star Original Review, that's REVUE for review. That's on Facebook. That's a great way to see all the local acts that we're working with. Tumbling Rock as well. That's our local magazine, KFAI. That's the local radio station. I also have a show coming up here at Midway Saloon, February 8th. It is my EP release show, so I have 5 other bands on that bill. It's going to be an incredible night, an amazing lineup, all handpicked by myself. You can find me on Facebook at AJ Stone Music. You can find me on Instagram at AJ Stone Official. A couple other shows coming up throughout the year, but the next big one is going to be that Midway one.
Awesome, man. Well, AJ, I appreciate your time. I appreciate everything you guys are doing up there. I can't wait to get together with you. I think I'm coming back up in April, and
Cool.
we'll definitely connect then. I think we have plans for me to be on the review show over at Bigwood
We
Brewery.
do. Yes, we do.
Awesome, man. I'm just so stoked, and I'm really thankful that you're part of the scene.
Absolutely, I am too, and it was awesome having this interview and of course meeting you in the first place.
AJ, thanks for being part of the scene, brother.
You as well. Take it easy.